Hello. Does the world feel really weird right now? Yes, of course it does, Geoff. What's the matter with you? Of course it feels very weird. But what I thought I'd do in this short video is just try and hopefully put into context why it might feel quite so weird for us, beyond the obvious, of course. If you are at the moment feeling anxious, if you're feeling uptight, if you're feeling that you can't sleep at the moment, perhaps this video might just give a little bit of reassurance, as it's designed to do, and to explain what's going on inside us at the moment. And to do that, I thought I'd change my background to something a little bit more reassuring, a little bit more relaxing, a nice desert island scene. Doesn't that look beautiful? Doesn't it look absolutely marvelous? If only, if only. And to be able to explain why it all feels a bit weird at the moment, I need to introduce to you somebody some of you may well have come across in the past. His name was Abraham Maslow, and he was an American psychologist. Now, Maslow came up with a principle, with a theory, with an idea that has endured, and many of us have followed it for many years. It's known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm going to try and explain that and then put it into context in terms of what's happening to all of us right now. I start by going back to our desert island, and let's imagine, if only, that you somehow have been on a ship, and there's been a shipwreck. We can take ourselves back to Pirates of the Caribbean, and we've been washed up on the shore. From that stage onwards, we're going to need certain things in a certain order, and that's what Maslow pointed out for us. So I'm going to show you the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and there it is. And you start right at the bottom, and we start at the bottom with the physiological needs, the physical needs. So the first thing is you need to get out of the water so that you don't drown, so that you can breathe, so you have the air. That's fairly important, I would have thought. When you've got your breath and when you're able to walk around a little bit, what's the first thing you're going to need? You're going to need a source of fresh water, because without water, we can't survive for more than about 36 hours. Once you've got a source of fresh water, once you've found that, you're going to need to get some food. And once we've got the food, whether it's nuts, berries, vegetables, or wild stock, or whatever it is, from that stage onwards, we're going to need to get ourselves warm a little bit. We're going to need some clothing. We're also going to need to find some kind of shelter, somewhere to sleep for tonight. These are all basic physical needs. You'll see there, it does also say reproduction. I'm not sure that fits entirely my analogy of day one of a desert island, but we accept that it is a basic physiological need. And Maslow's concept was it's only once these things are satisfied that we can hope to move up to the next level. And at the next level, we move up to the level of safety needs. Now, with safety needs, you've got a shelter, but there could be wild animals on board around this island. So we're going to need some kind of fortress, somewhere to protect ourselves. We might also need some resources, some property, as it were. We're going to need some spears, some knives, some fences. We're going to need our space, as it were. And also we need to consider a little bit our health. Are we eating the right kind of food? Are we taking the right kind of exercise? And although it seems like a strange one to put under safety needs, even employment, we can't just sit on the beach staring into space all of the time. We are going to need to have something to do. That is part of the safety of our mental attitude as well as our physical being as well. And only once those things are satisfied can we hope to move up to the next level. The next level is variously described as sociability, sometimes just love and belonging, connectedness. Pretty soon we're going to find that we are alone on this desert island. We're going to want friendship. We hope that there are going to be some other people there that we can connect with and start to build a community. We hope that we're going to be able to find intimacy and love, perhaps, maybe even start a family at some stage on the desert island. And the sense of belonging, the sense of connectedness, the sense of being with others. Now that's quite important to our overall safety. I remember many years ago, and I've been a trainer and presenter for a long time, but I remember many years ago hearing about some experiments that were done with chimpanzees, and they sound quite horrific experiments, to be honest, where they took the chimpanzees away, some chimpanzees away from their mothers, and they isolated them. They gave them food, they gave them shelter, they protected them, but what they deprived them of was any kind of connection with any other chimpanzees or anybody at all. And although it sounds fairly horrific, they were able to demonstrate that without contact, the chimpanzees that had the same food and the same kind of protection as those that had been left with their mothers, inevitably the young chimpanzees died. And they died simply through lack of contact. Lack of contact with others is quite an important one for us. And only once that level has been satisfied can we move up to the next level. And the next level is that of esteem. Presupposing we've now built our community, it's establishing things like the pecking order, developing for each of us our place in that world and the respect, the status that goes with all of that, the pride that goes with that. I'm the village blacksmith, I'm the village doctor. And it's possibly also there things like you may want to be the mayor of the town or the leader of the town. And then gradually as the community grows, you might want to set up your own companies. And part of the esteem is also freedom. The freedom to not be told what to do all the time, but to have the freedom to explore some areas of your own. And only once we've got all of those things can we move to the very highest level, the self-actualization. And that's all about being the very best person that you can be. And that's where we start to explore our creativity. Very few people, first day of a desert island, are going to start painting a picture before they've started finding somewhere to eat and somewhere to drink, something to drink. But once we've got all of those things, then we start to be free to explore our creativity, our innovation. That's where we start concentrating on our inner beings, self-development, mindfulness. We have our coaching, our counseling, our mentoring, all of them designed to help us to be better people. So that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But what's happened now? Why does it feel so weird? Well, I think it's because all of us have been to some extent pushed down the Maslow's hierarchy of needs with what's happening. If we were at the self-actualization stage, we've seen that right now the world is going, maybe later, but that's not our focus. And that's why we've seen theatres close, and that's why we've seen cinemas close, that's why we've seen training courses be cancelled, because we're focusing on other things right now. It's not that we don't need those things, for heaven's sake we really do, but right now we're focusing on some of those lower needs. So things like our esteem, even if you have been able to keep your job, certainly our freedom has been curtailed with the lockdown, that we're not able to go where we want to, see who we want to, do exactly as we want to. And for many who've had their businesses dramatically affected by this, it's also affected their esteem, their sense of ego, pride, self-respect and status. They were managing director of a successful business, and now that's been challenged. Not for everybody, but even those who are still in work at least have had their freedom affected. Love and relationships, well, we've all had that affected, that connectedness. We can't go and see our family. And across the entire world, there are partners who can't go and see each other, parents that can't see their children or their grandchildren, and this self-isolation, whether you're living with your family, and even more so if you're living alone, has really created that weirdness for all of us. And then on top of that, all of us have been pushed down in terms of the safety needs too, this time in terms of health. We're all worried about our loved ones, our friends, our families, our colleagues. And that's the self-isolation, trying to keep away and protect those that you care about. So we're really focusing on that. And if you are still one of those people going out to do a job, then of course you still have that worry about not catching it yourself or taking it back home to your family. So that's now a major consideration where it hasn't been for some time. And then right at the very bottom, some people have even been pushed back down to that level. Because if you're not getting any money coming in and you don't have the job, then food and shelter are right at the top of your considerations at the moment. So it's not really a surprise that the world feels quite so weird at the moment. And one of the major reasons is because we've all been pushed back down the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Seems like a strange thing to consider at this particular time. But I think we need to recognize that just as in the person arriving on a desert island alone with nothing at all, we saw with albeit fictional examples of Robinson Crusoe, the Swiss Family Robinson, Treasure Island, they may arrive with nothing, but eventually they build it all back up again until eventually we do go back up to that. And we will go back there again one day. We just have to recognize we're right probably down here in some of the lower levels at the moment. We haven't been there for some time. So my friends, the message is, look, take heart, just stay with it, endure a little bit at the moment, because it's not weird. It's just Maslow.